But I had this epiphany as I was channeling through in one of the moon cycle classes that, Scorpio is the sign that rules the genitals and the colon. And in order to have sex or to have a bowel movement, you need to take off your pants. Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. This is the week of November 11th to the 17th. If you enjoy the content that we are creating here and want to support the podcast, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, liking our videos, and leaving a comment or question. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to donate, you can do so through Spotify or DonorBox. The links to do so are in the show notes. I truly appreciate your engagement. It helps me tailor our content to your interests and grow our community to reach new listeners. The theme of the week is responsibility to release control, as we highlight Venus's transit through Capricorn and the full moon in Taurus. Of course, if you're curious to learn how any of the following transits are affecting you directly and how you can work with the cosmic energy to navigate your way successfully, you can contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. I have 3 big announcements this week. The first big announcement is I've had a really great conversation with Gabriella, and she is really thriving in her business and needs to focus her attention there. So the weekly version of this podcast moving forward is going to be just me channeling through the frequencies, the energies to give you the clarity that you need to navigate the week. Gabriella will be returning periodically to discuss deeper conversations, such as looking at a specific transit where we can really get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation or of the conversation of the transit. Any topics that she may be interested in covering, such as EMDR or individuation and what that means for the North Node. Those are some other topics that we're looking to explore. Those episodes will be in addition to the weekly podcast where I am covering the transit. So I'm looking forward to having more conversations with Gabriella on this platform, but it will just be a little bit different moving forward. The second big announcement is I'm going to be doing more interviews on this platform, in addition to the weekly version that I'm doing right now today. I want to reach out and just thank Jen of indigomoon.com. I cannot begin to express the shifts, the positive shifts and movement that we have felt in our home, Gabriella and I, since she has been working with us in doing the dowsing and the feng shui. So if you need to shift the energy of your space, your home environment, I strongly recommend that you go to indigomoon.com and contact Jen and work with her. I'm hoping to have Jen on this show, hoping that she will be one of my interviews on this show. But the first interview that I'm going to be doing on the show, that I've already done and I'm working on editing, is with Ingrid, the woman that I started the podcast with. I am interviewing Ingrid, aka Mina. That is her stage name, and that's what she's going by in her new podcast, Naked and Ambitious. I'm interviewing Ingrid and her co-host, Karina. We had such a fun conversation. And it was really great to catch up with her and reconnect. And I hope that you will join us when I release that episode, which I'm planning on doing hopefully within the next week. So stay tuned. You'll see it pop up on your feed if you are following us on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, and you've hit that little bell that reminds you whenever we're releasing a new episode. So I'm really excited to release the episode with Ingrid and Karina, or Mina and Karina, I should say. We had a really great, fun conversation, lots of laughs as always. And then finally, I'm putting in the show notes a link to my latest collaboration with 5th generation psychic Delisa Hawking. We had a wonderful conversation post-election, the day after the election. Maybe you listened to it live. It was a live recording, but it's now on YouTube. And if you missed it, I encourage you to click that link within the show notes and have a listen to Delisa and I as we sort of set the table moving forward with how things are going to be laid out astrologically now that the election's over. What is the best way for you to work with the planetary energies in the most positive way for yourself and those that you're connecting to? So I really, really hope that that's helpful to you. We had a really positive vibe from the audience, a lot of positive comments. So it felt like we resonated with those that were listening in a way that was beneficial to them, that was uplifting to them. And that is always my goal, as it is here with the weekly transit, is to leave you feeling lifted rather than drained. That is what we're channeling through. We're channeling through the love to empower you. I'm able to sit here right now and have this conversation with you because of you, because of all the comments, all the positive comments I've received, all the positive messages that I've received, and most importantly, all the positive readings that I've done. Everyone that's reached out to me for a reading, everyone that I'm working with on a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, a monthly basis, it's because of you that I'm able to sit here and in this room alone, but I'm not alone. I'm with you. And because I'm with you, I'm channeling the energy through in the most positive way from that frequency of love to empower you, to guide you through the week. So I am so grateful, so honored to be here with you to share what we have in store for the week ahead. And so let's get to it. This week is the week of November 11th, 11/11 to the 17th of November. So great to start on 11/11, that frequency, whatever it means to you. This week we're talking about Venus in Capricorn and the full moon in Taurus, and we have a few other transits to highlight as well. But let's begin with Venus in Capricorn, which begins on 11/11. On November 11th, that is when the goddess of love and beauty, the planet of relationships, begins transit through the cardinal earth sign symbolized by the goat, Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the god of wealth and time, the planet of restriction, responsibility, hard work, achievement, and authority. Venus is transiting through Capricorn from November 11th to December 7th. And this is the second time this year that Venus has transited through Capricorn. So this year is really, the theme of the year is really responsibility, because we've had 2 transits of Venus in Capricorn. We've had 2 Venus new moons. Not Venus new moons. We've had 2 Capricorn new moons and 2 Capricorn full moons. So 2 transits of Venus through Capricorn, 2 Capricorn new moons, and 2 Capricorn full moons. And Capricorn is all about responsibility. It's taking responsibility for your time. We're all on planet Earth for just a finite amount of time, a short amount of time. So How are you spending your time? This is about accounting for your time. Think of time as money. Saturn is the god of wealth and time. Wealth is money. Time is money. You've heard the phrase, time is money. Money is time. So how are you spending your time? And with Venus, how are you spending your time in your close personal relationships? I think about my relationship with Gabriella, and since we've been working with Jen and clearing the energy of our home, like our whole relationship has been restructured, and it just feels so positive. She has been so supportive. So I just want to reach out and give a shout out to my beloved Gabriella for all of her support with me in this podcast and doing the podcast with me, but even more so encouraging me to do the podcast on my own. She is like so thrilled that I'm sitting here by myself, doing the podcast on my own. And that means so much to me. It really fuels me because I just feel her encouragement, her support. And it's been a relief to her because now she can really just focus on her work, her passion, which is working with clients one-on-one, and her business is really thriving. It is blossoming, and it's been blossoming because we have been shifting the energy in our home. So positive. So really think as Venus transits through Capricorn, what is my role in my relationships? What am I bringing to my relationship of value? What are my partners bringing to me that is of value? And when I say partners, it could be lovers, it could be friends, it could be business partners, it could be acquaintances. In every relationship that you have, there's an exchange. And in that relationship, you need to take responsibility for what that exchange means. This is what I'm giving you, and this is what I'm getting in return. So when you take responsibility for what you're giving, you need to hold the other party accountable for what they're giving you. Are you getting what you plan to receive, and are they getting what they plan to receive? So there's work here. From November 11th to December 7th, you want to be focusing on restructuring your relationships and making sure that your relationships feel like they are a balanced exchange where the work feels good because what you're getting for the work is what was agreed upon. What is the time that you're spending with your partner? I think about Gabriella and I and our time together since we've decided to move apart or restructure our relationship to the podcast, our relationship as lovers, as friends, as cohabitants, people that are cohabitating together, has just become more fluid. Because we've taken like the pressure of the work that is required to doing the podcast out of the equation, and we've gone back to what it's meant to be friends, to be lovers, to be connecting with each other in that positive way, where the pressure of the podcast has now been lifted for both of us. And so what is that for you in your relationships? What are you working on with your lover, your friend, your business partner? And what do you need to restructure in order to find greater support from that partner? And what can you restructure? What do you want to restructure? What do you really want to spend your time on with your partner? Whether it's a lover, a friend, or a business partner. What do you want to spend your time on? How do you want them to spend their time with you? What are they giving to you, to the relationship, and what are you giving to them? What are your goals and ambitions? What are your goals and ambitions? What are you working towards? So for those of you that were born with key astrological points or planets in Aries, in Libra, Aries is cardinal fire, Libra is cardinal air, Capricorn is cardinal earth. And then Cancer, cardinal water. Those are the 4 sort of stress points of Capricorn. But the 2 most stressful points are Aries and Libra. So if you have key points or planets in Aries or Libra, there may be challenges that are coming to your relationships. I say this to you not to bring up concern or fear, but to empower you, to recognize where the tension is being felt, and through that tension, being able to work through the tension for your benefit. Now, if you were born with key astrological points or planets in any of the water or earth signs, especially Scorpio and Pisces, Virgo and Taurus, those 4 signs are making really positive aspects to Venus in Capricorn. So if you were born with key astrological points or planets in Scorpio, Pisces, Virgo, and Taurus, this is your time to really thrive in your relationship. You know, most of us have key astrological points or planets that in signs that are stressful and harmonious to Venus in Capricorn. So maybe through this period, you're going to find that there's some stress, but there's also some support that's elevating you to take your relationships to that next level. So think about the level that you want to elevate to in your relationships and look at your astrological code and see where the pressure points are and where the supportive points are, and map out the next 26 days or so that Venus is in Capricorn and see, okay, here's Venus. It's going to be transiting in a square to this planet in Aries. You know, I need to really buckle down during that period. There may be some stressful experiences that I am going through with my partner. And in being aware of that, I need to lean into the stress, not run from it, not hide from it, but really lean into it. And in leaning into it, recognizing where we need to restructure things. And so when you see Venus aligning with a positive aspect in your chart, you're like, okay, well, this is a time for me to really thrive in my relationship and to push the relationship forward and elevate it in a positive way, to not, sort of rest on our laurels that things are okay, things are chill, things are good. No, but to really commit to doing the work that, things do feel good right now. So because they feel good, what can I do to make them feel better? Is there something that my partner, my lover, my friend, my business partner said that they really wanted to work on? Maybe it happened during that stressful period. Okay, let's work on that now. Let's work on that during this period of peace and harmony. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope this encourages you during this Venus in Capricorn period. And we're going to be touching on it at the end of the week. We're going to open with Venus in Capricorn. We're going to close with Venus in Capricorn, but we're going to continue to talk about Venus in Capricorn and touch upon these themes in the weeks ahead as Venus aligns with other planets along the way through Capricorn. Now, think back to these dates, January 23rd to February 16th, 2024. So that was earlier this year that Venus was transiting through Capricorn. The time before that was December 9th, 2022 to January 2nd, 2023. Prior to that was November 5th, 2021 to March 5th, 2022. That was a really long extended period of Venus in Capricorn because Venus was retrograde in Capricorn from January 29th, 2022, or actually December 19th, 2021 to January 29th, 2022, where it was transiting retrograde between 26 degrees and 11 degrees Capricorn. So I bring up these dates for you to think back, go back through your calendar, through your Instagram posts, through your photos, and look back on those dates, your text messages, maybe that's going to give you some insight into what could be in store this time around as Venus transits through Capricorn. So hopefully that gives you some insight that is going to help you navigate the weeks ahead. But I'm here for you during the podcast. And if you're curious to learn how this Venus in transit through Capricorn is going to affect you directly, I encourage you to contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. Now moving on to the next transit, which is Mercury, the messenger of the gods, guide of souls to the underworld, the planet of consciousness, communication, and coordination, transiting through the mutable fire sign symbolized by the archer Sagittarius. Mercury is transiting through Sagittarius for an extended period of time from early November to early January. Because it is in its retrograde shadow, it will retrograde through Sagittarius. And this is encouraging us to be honest, to be open, to be forthright, and to really be righteous in the way that we speak. And I don't say that in meaning like the know-it-all. That's the lower frequency of Sagittarius, is telling everybody how it is, what time it is. No, in being righteous, I'm saying, see the big picture. Understand that there are more points of view than just your own, that your point of view does matter, but it's important for you to be respectful and mindful of the points of views of others. And so this transit of Mercury and Sagittarius is aligning with Saturn. As we said before, the planet of responsibility, transiting retrograde through the mutable water sign symbolized by the fish Pisces. So Saturn is slowed down, and it's going to end its retrograde transit this week. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. But right now, Mercury squaring Saturn in Pisces. Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Saturn in Pisces. This is the honest truth. The honest truth with yourself, with your unconscious. It's about taking responsibility. It's the harsh truth. What is going on beneath the surface of your mind, in your psyche? Where are you being hard on yourself? Where are you beating yourself up in your mind? It's time to come clean. There's a lot of anger maybe in the world right now because of what occurred during the election. It's like one side is maybe happy but gloating. The other side is maybe angry and lashing out at the other side. If that's you, if you feel that anger, if you're gloating, if you're saying, I told you so, then there's something within you that is maybe feeling some fear. And so what is that fear? Where is the guilt? Where's the shame? Where's the regret? Where's the blame? What are you blaming yourself for? What are you feeling regretful for? What are you shameful of? It's time to be honest with yourself. It's time to take responsibility for those thoughts. This is from Sunday, November 10th to Wednesday, November 13th, with the exact square occurring on Tuesday, November 12th. So during this period, take an honest look. Pay attention to your dreams, your sleeping dreams. Pay attention to your thoughts when you're driving, when you're going for a walk, when you're cooking, when you're doing laundry, when you're doing some sort of mundane function, like when you drive to work and you get there and you're like, how did I even get here? That used to happen to me all the time when I would drive to work. I'd be like, how did I get here? So, if that's you, where is your mind going during that period? Where is it going? What are your thoughts? What is your flow? If you're pissed off and angry, Be honest about it. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be pissed off. What's not okay is when you ignore it. When you ignore it, that's when it festers. It's like a cancer cell that's growing in your body and metastasizing into a tumor. So be clear. If you're angry, admit to it. Honor it. Pay attention. It's like you've got to pay attention to your demons. If you don't pay attention to your demons, then they will haunt you. They will take over. So pay attention to your demons. Show them the attention they deserve. And show them compassion. Show them empathy. Yeah, I'm hurt. The reason why I'm gloating is because I'm pissed off that for the last 4 years, everybody has been gloating at me. And if you're the other side, yeah, I'm pissed off because they're gloating, or I'm pissed off because I feel like this is the wrong choice for the country. Okay, that's fair, that's fine. Let it out. With yourself. Acknowledge your anger with yourself. Where does that stem from? Where does that anger come from? Where does it come from? Acknowledge it. Face it. Love it. Transmute the anger to love. Show yourself compassion. Be empathetic to the other side. Be empathetic to the other people in your life that you disagree with. Be empathetic to the people on TV, on social media, that piss you off, that anger you. They're going through some sort of trauma that they haven't dealt with. Don't allow them to make their trauma your trauma. The way that you can transmute that is by showing them compassion and empathy and moving on with your day. Moving on, speaking of moving on, let's get to that third transit, which is the sun, the giver of light, life, and vitality, bringing that light, life, and vitality to the fixed water sign symbolized by the scorpion. Scorpio. This is a sign that we've been talking a lot about these last few weeks, and we're going to continue talking about it here and into next week as the sun concludes its transit through Scorpio. I really love, I got to say again, I'm so grateful for my clients. If you're out there listening, my clients, the ones that I meet with weekly, the ones that I meet with periodically, I'm so grateful for you. You inspire me so deeply through the readings that I do with you, because it's in these readings that I get these downloads, these hits. And there's one that I'm going to use right now. And just talking about Scorpio and how the scorpion is, I talked about a week ago, I did an Instagram post, I talked about it on the podcast, about how the scorpion is the scariest sign of the zodiac. But Scorpio is also the most vulnerable sign. It's the most vulnerable sign. It's the tiniest sign. It's the tiniest symbol. It's the most vulnerable symbol because it's the tiniest symbol. It can be crushed. And the crabs can be tiny too, yes, but so can the scorpion. You know, the scorpion is like this treacherous looking creature, but you could just crush it with your heel, crush it with a rock. It's so, so vulnerable. But it's also so strong. It can regenerate. That's the phoenix rising. And when you think of the planetary rulers of Scorpio, it's ruled by Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the god of death. So what this says to me is that Scorpio is not only the most vulnerable sign, it shows how strength comes through vulnerability. When you have the courage to be vulnerable, then you have the ability to be strong. I think of Scorpio, I think of sex, the merging of power, the sharing of secrets, the sharing of financial information. When you have developed your psychic abilities to the point of, and let's be clear, that's what Scorpio season's about. Scorpio season is an opportunity for you to develop your psychic abilities so that you can be discerning about who you are allowing to be intimate with you through these vulnerable acts, secrets, sex, the sharing of money. When you meet someone and you're able to truly be vulnerable with them, and they lift you up through that vulnerability, it makes you stronger. It makes you stronger. When I met Gabriella, I was waiting tables. Now, I'm a guide who meets with people weekly, does this podcast, uses the language of astrology to help guide people navigate their way through life. She helped transform me. By me being able to be vulnerable with her, I have transformed, and I'm stronger than who I was before I met her. So this is to encourage you to have the courage to be vulnerable, to face your fears, your insecurities, to be discerning about who you're being intimate with. It's not just intimate with anyone. It's about being discerning about who the right people are to be vulnerable with. But when you have the courage to be vulnerable with the right person, it will make you stronger. Now, the sun forms in opposition to Uranus, the planet of revolution, rebellion, innovation, independence, and the unexpected, transiting retrograde through the fixed earth signs symbolized by the bull, Taurus. These two are meeting at 25 degrees. This is from Thursday, November 14th to Sunday, November 17th, with the exact opposition occurring on Saturday, November 16th. This is happening along with the full moon, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but this is one of those moments where I love astrology and just the brilliance of how it all comes together. You think of Scorpio, the smallest, most vulnerable sign. What's the largest, least vulnerable sign? The bull. And so, of course, it's directly opposite Scorpio. The bull is opposite the scorpion. The Scorpio is opposite Taurus. But also, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, the god of war. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love. So they're opposite each other as well. So when we're talking about Scorpio, it's strength through vulnerability. When we're talking about Taurus, it's strength through sensuality. It's love through sensuality. It's strength in love, because the bull is very strong, but very sensual. The bull doesn't want to harm you. The bull doesn't want to hurt you. The bull will only get aggressive when it feels threatened. The bull really just wants that sensuality, wants that cool grass beneath it, the warm sun baking on its back, all the fragrances of the flowers, the field, the forest, carrying into its senses. That's where it wants to be, in that wide open field. And Uranus is there agitating the bull. It's kind of like that, I think of that electric shock those ranchers give the bull, or when they try to get him, move him into a place, it's just horrible. Or they're branding the bull. It's like, that's Uranus. It's shocking the bull right now. It's revolutionizing our self-worth and values. And so the opposition to the sun in Scorpio is creating a revolution to our self-worth and values, which needs to be brought to our intimate relationships. So maybe it's sharing with your intimate partners that these are my values. This is what's important to me. And in order for this relationship to deepen, it needs to transform in accordance with my self-worth and values. And as you share that with your partner, they share with you their shocking reveal. Their shocking reveal of self-worth and values. So are you ready for the revolution of your relationships? Are you ready for the revolution of your self-worth and values? Are you ready to get deeper in your intimate bonds by being open in sharing what you value, in being open and advocating for your self-worth in a way that is revolutionizing, that is going to revolutionize your relationships? That's what this opposition is about. And it is occurring at the same time as the full moon in Taurus, which happens just before the exact opposition to Uranus with the sun, but it's still conjunct the moon, Uranus, and opposite the sun. And this is happening in conjunction with Algol, the demon star. Intense. This is where we're talking about a responsibility to release control. A responsibility to release control, because when I think about the two most controlling signs, it's Capricorn or Taurus, Venus in Capricorn, the full moon in Taurus. The full moon is occurring on Friday, November 15th at 1:28 p.m. Pacific time. And it's all about releasing control. I had a funny sort of epiphany in one of my moon cycle classes that I want to encourage you to take if you haven't worked with me, or if you have worked with me and you want insight into the next lunar cycle. I want to encourage you to enroll in the moon cycle classes at theweeklytransit.com, where we will be discussing the new moon in Sagittarius and the full moon in Gemini. But I had this epiphany as I was channeling through in one of the moon cycle classes that, Scorpio is the sign that rules the genitals and the colon. And in order to have sex or to have a bowel movement, you need to take off your pants. And so, it just makes me think about this full moon. And the full moon is a release. We're releasing the frequency of the sign where the moon is in. And that frequency is Taurus. And so we want to release control so that we can deepen the bond with those that we're intimate with. And you can't deepen the bond unless you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And in order to be vulnerable, you need to release control. You need to take off your pants, whether it be literally or metaphorically. You know what I mean. What are you holding on to so tightly that is keeping you from getting deep with another person? It's time to get deep with another, whether it's through secrets, sex, or the sharing of financial information or money, whatever's appropriate to you. What are the barriers that are holding you back from deepening the bond that you share with others, or connecting with someone in a new way that's deep? it's through this connection that you will transform. And through that transformation, you will revolutionize your self-worth and values. Because you will see that those that I'm bonded to, they value me more than I value myself. That is the beauty of intimacy. When it's in that highest frequency, you realize that, wow, I am beautiful. I am brilliant. I am a bright, shining light. And I never even realized how much I am until I was able to see myself through another. And in doing that, you can help lift the one that is lifting you. And that is my hope for you during this full moon in Taurus. Release whatever is holding you back from deepening your bonds with another, with whoever is already lifting you, with whoever you feel safe in being vulnerable with. And then the final transit of the week, which just elevates us, continues to elevate us through this week. It's actually not the final transit. Sorry, I jumped the gun. The final transit is really going to elevate us, but I did want to bring up Saturn going direct. Saturn is returning to direct motion in Pisces. This is on November 15th, Friday, the same day as the full moon. Oh, wow, so beautiful. It's like we're releasing the control and we're taking responsibility for the guilt, the shame, the regret, the blame. We're showing ourselves compassion. We're saying, I don't need to hold that boundary with someone else. I'm doing that because I'm afraid, because in my past, I felt guilty for my past. I feel shameful. I feel regretful. I'm blaming myself, and I don't need to do that with this partner. I can truly be compassionate with myself and empathetic to them and see that they truly have love for me and it's real. So Saturn's going to move slow. It's going to be sitting here at 12 degrees for a while, just as it's been at 12 degrees for a while. If you want to know what that means for you, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. But Saturn entered its retrograde shadow on March 23rd. So what was going on in your life on March 23rd? Because that is exactly where Saturn is right now. Where Saturn was on March 23rd is where Saturn is on November 15th. So think back. Connect the dots. Is there a thread? June 29th is when Saturn began its retrograde transit, which was at 19 degrees in Pisces. And on February 18th next year is when Saturn will move out of its retrograde shadow. That is when Saturn will be exactly where it was on June 29th. So I just give you these dates to help you, track what is going on in your life. Like look back. What were your text messages on March 23rd, on June 29th? What were your photographs on those dates? What were your Instagram posts or your social media posts on those dates? Look back in your calendar. What was going on? Do you keep a diary, a journal? This is going to help you keep track of the energy and how you are progressing in your life. But the assignment continues, as we've already said. Saturn in Pisces is about taking responsibility for facing the guilt, the shame, the regret, the blame, so you can integrate those thought patterns and memories with understanding, forgiveness, and love for yourself. So that next year, when Saturn transits into Aries, and our collective dumpster fires, or a collective unconscious is moved out into the street, it's not lit on fire like a dumpster fire. So we're doing the work now. So commit to continue doing the work to forgive yourself. To forgive yourself, to do that unconscious work. Now the final transit. Venus in Capricorn, forming a square with the North Node, the soul's purpose, in transiting retrograde in the cardinal fire sign symbolized by the ram Aries. This is happening at 5 degrees. And yes, this is a square, but I really look at this as a positive aspect. It's tense, but if you're doing the work, if you're releasing control, then what you're going to find through experiencing this transit, which occurs the same time as the sun opposing Uranus, November 14th to the 17th, Thursday to Sunday, with the exact square happening the same day of the exact opposition between the sun and Uranus, Saturday, November 16th. This is supporting you in being authentic in terms of what you want from your relationships. If you're being authentic in terms of what you want from your relationships, then you are being vulnerable. Because sometimes sharing with your partner what it is you really want, there could be some fears there about pushing them away. That if I tell them what I really want, they're not going to love me. They're not going to like me. They're not going to want to work with me anymore. But this transit is encouraging you to face your fears and insecurities and say, you know what, if I really want to achieve my goals and ambitions for what I want for my relationships, then I need to be authentic about what I want. And I need to be authentic with my partner. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope this is encouraging for you. I hope this supports you in the week ahead. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any comments, please leave them. If you're on Instagram Instagram, reach out to me. You can on the post that I'm doing there, or on YouTube and on Spotify. I really love receiving all of your positive comments. It means a lot to me. It encourages me through the week to hear how you've been encouraged by the message that we are giving you here. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for spending your time with me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for listening to the weekly transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. If you're interested in delving into the world of psychotherapy with Gabriella, you can schedule a consultation with her at GabriellaDurso.com. That's GabriellaDurso.com. Support for the podcast can be done through a monthly contribution on Spotify, rating us 5 stars, subscribing to our channel on YouTube, or writing a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. We are grateful for your support. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog-Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.